Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. We did some cuttings yesterday with the chainsaw on some logs to make some bulb lengths, and today I'm going to show you how to rough turn it down and get it ready to make an actual bowl out of it. As you notice, I just drilled a hole in the center here. Actually, I pre-drilled it. I had already mounted it to the chuck, but I thought I'd show you how this all works. We're going to head on over to the lathe here and chuck it up with the center screw first. We'll turn some of this rough part down, and then we will get to rounding this out, shaping it out, making a tenon on the back of it so that we can chuck it up with the G3 chuck there, and we can start hollowing it out. So I've got the new Nova G3 chuck that I got in the mail yesterday. Ordered it online and was very pleased. Very fast shipping. They took care of me quite well. You can see there's a center screw that I've got mounted in here, and that's going to meet up with this hole that I just drilled. And I'll simply spin it in there. You can, if you want to, turn on the lathe for a split second on the ultra low speed and it'll screw itself in, but I'd prefer to do it by hand here. Just make sure that it's mounted up nice and solid. I put my lathe stop in there so it won't continue spinning when I tighten it down. We'll get a good grip on that. We'll take a look and see how true this spins, see if there's a whole lot of vibration. I may need to take the saw and cut off some of these extra pieces here. Got it on the low speed, fire it up. A little bit of vibration. We'll go to the next speed here and see if it quiets it down. And we'll start out on low. We'll go even lower. That gives it more vibration. We'll get the tool rest set up and start turning. I'm going to go ahead and start my rough turning using my carbide 4-inch radius square roughing tool here. This is one that I made myself. They got about 170 bucks to purchase them new. I think I'm into this about 20 bucks or less. It took me about 20 minutes to make it. I've even turned my own handles for the tools here. As you can see, I've got nice turned oak handles here. They seem to work really well. Possibly better than the commercial ones that you can buy in the stores. Now this is going to start out really rough and chunky because you can see it's pretty well octagon shaped. So I'm going to be taking off these high spots and it's going to be beating on those as it goes by. But the more I get it turned down, the smoother it's going to be, the truer it's going to be, and so it's going to spin a lot smoother. It's not going to be so off balance. So we'll give it a start. The beginning's always really messy. So now what I'm going to do is unscrew the bowl from the chuck screw here. You can see it left a little residue from being wet overnight. We're going to remove the screw out of the center here. And then these jaws right here are what's going to go into that little dovetail that I just cut into it. I measured it out to be 2 inches, which is just perfect for those jaws. Go ahead and snug that up nice and tight. Okay, just want to check for tightness here. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I don't think it's going anywhere. Now that'll allow me to get to this side and start hollowing out the rest of the bowl. Nice thing about this lathe that I really enjoy over all of the 2 other ones that I have is that I can actually unlock this and slide it around at a 45-degree angle, or even a 90-degree angle, so that I can get to it right here in the front without having to lean over the bed of the lathe here. So I think I'm going to give that a try and see if it makes it easier, as I have not used this feature of the lathe quite yet. So we'll give it a shot. Hang tight. Okay, I've added this tool rest extension on here so that I can get around to the back side of the bowl. Seems to work out pretty good. Everything's locked on there good and solid. We're going to give it a little bit of roughing here. And we are hitting. I'm going to back that out just a hair. And once I shave that edge off, we'll go ahead and take it back in. So, wish me luck. This is a first for me. Look and see what kind of damage I did here. Yeah, it's smoothing it out a little bit, but I've got a long ways to go. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video so that you don't have to endure the long process. So as you can see, hollowing is kind of a long process. It takes a while. That's a lot of wood to remove out of that bowl there. You can also see that the chuck is holding up real good. I'm starting to get a little bit of an odd harmonic vibration though, so I'm going to go through, tighten that up. I also need to true up the outside edges because I think it put it a little bit off center when I switched it from the screw to the chuck jaws. As you can see, when it's spinning, the outer walls are just a little bit out of round here. And it's also, remember, a very, very wet wood still. It was just cut out of the tree day before yesterday. So I'm still getting a lot of this gouging here. As it dries, I'll go through and sand it and make it a lot smoother, a lot easier feel to the touch. We'll also check for any kind of movement. Anytime wood dries, it starts to warp. The end grains dry at a different rate than the side grains. So it's going to be an interesting little project. So you can see with that pointed tool we get a lot of this extra. I'm going to go to the round tool and clean that up a little bit. Let's see how well that cleaned up. Yeah, so you can see it's still real wet here. Still getting a lot of fiber action. I'm getting a lot of ridges here too because of it. We're going to let the bowl dry out here and come back to it maybe tomorrow. Okay, so we've got a roughed out bowl shape here. You can see it's still really thick. I left it a good 3/4 of an inch or more because I'm going to let this dry for a little while, and when it's drying, if it's too thin, it's really going to start to move and warp on me. So I'm going to leave it a little bit thicker. It does make it take a lot longer to dry when I do it that way. But I think in the end, after a few months of drying, this blank will be pretty good shape. It won't have a whole lot of movement. I'll put it back on the lathe, true it up on the outside, cut out the rest of the stuff on the inside, make those walls a lot thinner, and turn it into a nice finished product. I don't know if you can see, there's some beautiful grain in here, and once that gets all sanded out and then finish put on it, it's really going to pull that grain out and make it pretty nice. So I've left the tenon in the bottom so we can chuck it up once it dries up a little bit. Now it's going to warp, it's going to move, but that's okay. We're going to true it back up. I think I'm going to leave this in here instead of cutting this bottom edge off, and that way I have a nice little place to put my stamp on there. I've got a little custom stamp for my stuff that I build in my shop. So I'm pretty happy with this. This is actually my very first turned bowl here, so I am a baby at this. I am just learning as I go. Unfortunately, I haven't really had anybody that could teach me. I've had a couple friends would give me some pointers, but pretty much all my tools are self-made, and I'm pretty much self-taught, so we're going to go from there. Thanks a lot for tuning in.